Utah has become the latest US state to class pornography as a public health hazard, declaring it an epidemic that normalizes violence against women and children. Now, I say it's interesting because of a certain generation, pornography is thought of as just a few sort of titillating pictures of naked ladies or gentlemen. But pornography's moved on since then.
Yes.
Can you see where the state of Utah is coming from?
Do you know what? I can. And I'll tell you for why. I think what I'm experiencing, and I can only talk from my personal experience, is that a lot of people now, younger men, are so desensitized to sex that because of the porn that they're watching, they want that kind of sex.
What do you mean, like aggressive sort of?
It can be extreme. Let's just go with extreme.
Yeah.
I think that covers everything.
Okay.
But what it isn't connected. There is no, it's a real disassociation.
Yeah.
And it's about quantity rather than quality.
Yeah.
They're more wanting group sex.
Oh my God.
No, because this is what they're being exposed to. They're being exposed to these kinds of practices that really, when you're younger, you haven't got the maturity, you haven't got the experience to deal with how that makes you feel afterwards. So the fantasy, as they say, sometimes the fantasy never lives up to the reality.
Yeah.
So therefore, you actually come away feeling empty, you come away feeling dejected, you come away feeling worthless because you were never able to live up to what they've seen in that porn video, which is, these are professional people that are very experienced, that are being paid to do it. And so therefore, it's unrealistic. It's a very unrealistic approach to sex.
And I think and I think you're absolutely right, Jason. And I think what's really important is we've got a young generation coming up now who their first introduction to sexual education, if you like, in terms of sexual behaviour, not birds and the bees. And some young men never seen a woman with pubic hair.
That's right.
They are shocked to find out that actually, 4 or 5 dates down the line, that actually there are women who aren't made in the same way as the women that they've seen on film.
I don't understand all that waxing all of that off. That's there for a reason. That's the lawn around the house, the leaf around the flower. That's there to protect your parts, isn't it?
But also what's worrying, Linda, is a lot of young women who are being expected to perform in ways that they're not feeling comfortable with because young men have only seen sex being acted out in a certain way, which is it's devoid of the whole reason that lovemaking is called lovemaking. There's no love there, and there's no emotion.
I've
you
never
mentioned
had
the word
sex
connecting.
with someone. I've only ever made love to someone. No, honestly, and I don't believe that my kids have watched porn. Call me naive or whatever.
Naive.
I honestly don't believe they have.
Of course they have.
Well, how do you know they have?
35,
26 and 21.
Right, well, 90% of 8 to 16-year-olds are watching porn, and the largest consumers of internet porn are 12 to 17. So there you go.
So kids are watching.
That's the statistic.
Kids are watching this at 8.
So that's the age of your son?
8. That is.
How are they watching it? How do they know to even go on? What do you do to go on to the? Surely there's some sort of lock or a guide or something.
Not on your phone.
On your phone.
Not on your
the problem
smart
is, as well, is when they're all on their phone, they're looking at funny videos of cats and, all that sort of thing like they do. And down that sidebar, they are 2 clicks away from stumbling over something.
I've seen... my son watches YouTube clips. He's 8.
Yeah.
And you watch one after another, and eventually something in that search will bring... I've heard swearing coming from the iPad and taking it off, and it's just because he's watched one YouTube clip after another.
Yeah.
And it's not long until you get onto porn sites.
Can I say, the only porn I ever watched, me and Pauline were in a hotel room one night, we'd had a few glasses of wine, we flicked through the channels, and we saw Cinderella, S-I-N-Derella. So we decided to have a little look, so we put it on, and there was no sound. So I'm going to ring Dan and tell them there's no sound. She went, I ain't ringing Dan. Anyway, we watched it. Prince Charming was going up Cinderella's dress. And
Looking for a glass slipper, probably.
Exactly. And the next day we had to check out of the hotel. I'm going, you go and pay, I'm not going up there, because we knew they knew that we'd watched a porn film. And all
new meaning to birds of a feather, isn't it?
I don't know what I said to her is my husband's a lazy git.
You know, and that kind of thing is perfectly fun and enjoyable and what have you. But we're talking about kids seeing things that they're really not mentally prepared for. And obviously, you've mentioned your little boy. What sort of age do you think very quickly, do you think you'll have a conversation with him about just being aware that that's not real? That's...
We've had the sex conversation because he came home from the play, he'd heard it in the playground, what is sex? And he's 8, and we're very liberal with him. We do talk to him about anything, and I feel that's something that's really good.
Yeah.
But I think pornography is a different kettle of fish. It's a completely different beast, and to talk to him about pornography, I think 8 years old is too young. But if there's kids looking at it at 8 years old, that's before absolutely, and that's before they do sex education at school. So this is their sex education on these iPads. It's terrifying.
And we did a viewer poll as well. Do you believe that watching porn is dangerous? Yes, 51%. No, 49%. Wow.
I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like Brexit.
After the break.